Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Hot Chocolate News, brought to you by none other than the Black Girl Magic Masters LLC Mobile Tech Minority Company. But me, Shaquila, the CEO. Hey, now listen, I got an opportunity to look at some of my emails, but not all of them. So let's start with the one I haven't read yet. Let's do morning squat. Good morning. Good morning, ning, ning, ning. Okay. All right. So let's get into it because obviously it is going down today. Now listen, let me get it ready. Let me get myself ready. Now listen, y'all. The outfit is a little giving wardrobe malfunction capabilities. So we're going to act accordingly. Good morning. All right, so let's talk about today's headlines because I don't know if y'all knew. But stock futures were a little bit okay. Stock futures were a little changed Friday morning, y'all, ahead of the monthly job report, which is set to drop today, or was set to drop today at 8:30 in the morning Eastern. So the U.S. equities markets are coming off of a mixed Thursday, which saw the Dow and the S&P 500 snap out of a 4-day losing streak, thank the Lord, while the NASDAQ suffered its fifth straight day of losses. Now, which is its longest skid since February. So investors are looking for clues as to how aggressive the Federal Reserve could be later this month, but we don't even care. We're already in the thick of it. They're already trying to make sure we quit jobs. So anyway, they're already trying to ensure unemployment because that's their key. They can fix unemployment, but they can't fix inflation. So what? We have all these wonderful job numbers. Anyway, I digress. That was my note, not that of Morning Squawk CNBC. Now listen, like I said, the investors are looking for clues as to how aggressive the Federal Reserve could be later this month when the central bank is widely expected to rise rates again in a fight against inflation. But a robust jobs report this morning could spook the market, y'all. So since we got about 1 minute, since it would add to the Fed's case for slowing things down, economists are projecting that the U.S. added about 318,000 jobs in August, according to the Dow Jones. They had a 268,000 goal in July. So we're going to see if this is where they want it. So you definitely can read more on the CNBC Pro. But like I said, I am just pulling these off of my emails that I get every morning. Now, listen, there is a new Starbucks CEO. Now, this is being reported in like two of my little news reportings today, but Starbucks has chosen its next chief executive officer, which is named Laxman Narasimhan. Narasimhan. All right, well, who he just resigned from this being the CEO of the Reckitt, which owns Lysol cleaning brands, Durex condoms, and more. So Howard Schultz, who has been the coffee chain interim CEO for about 5 months, his third go round as chief isn't going anywhere anytime soon now. So Narasimhan will join Starbucks in October, but won't take over the company's CEO until next April. So Schultz will remain on the company's board and continue to be an advisor after Narasimhan, a PepsiCo veteran, assumes the role. You see how, why they didn't hire Howard Schultz? What is the deal with that? More details on the way of the Starbucks Investor Day is slated for September 13th in Seattle. Now, Amazon union workers, they score another win. Did y'all know that the National Labor Relations Board said Thursday that Amazon's labor union's winning effort to basically unionize a Staten Island, New York warehouse basically should be upheld. The e-commerce giant began its formal objection in May, the month after the union had actually won. But the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board attorney overseeing the case, said that Amazon had not met its burden in its bid to demonstrate that the Union used objectionable means to secure its victory. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they were claiming, like, oh, the Union used some objectionable means. Oh my God. So the grassroots Amazon labor union, meanwhile, is basically looking to expand its influence. It failed to unionize another Staten Island warehouse in May, but workers at warehouses in Albany, New York, and Kentucky are basically seeking to organize with the group. So that's good. So remember I reported yesterday about the UN and the Ukraine situation and the inspectors going to that damn power plant, that nuclear power plant. So UN team digs in at the Ukraine nuclear plant after hours of delays. Due to the shelling in the region Thursday, inspectors with the United Nations International Atomic Energy, they finally made it. They finally made it to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine. So the organization does not plan to leave either. As long as the Russian-occupied facility is vulnerable to a catastrophe, we ain't going nowhere, is what they said. They went to shits. So the IAEA chief, which is named Rafael Grossi, he told reports the IAEA is now there. It is at the plant and it is not moving. It is going to stay there. We are going to have a continued presence there at the plant, quote, end quote. So the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant is the largest in Europe. Now, you can definitely read more. You want to know more? Go to CNBC Pro. Now, listen, the meme stock situation, the motion picture. Here's a funny story about the last holiday weekend of the summer. An all-star cast, including This Is the End star and The Boys executive producer Seth Rogen and Pete Davidson of SNL and Kim Kardashian's fame, will take on a wild story of the GameStop meme stock phenomenon that happened early 2021 called Dumb Money, right? Which will be helmed by the I, Tonya director Craig Gillespie. It's slated to start filming it this month. So the rights to buy the movie will go on sale this month as well. So the film will be based on Ben Mesrick's non-fictional book, The Anti-Social Network. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Mesrick also wrote the Accidental Billionaires, a juicy account of the founding of Facebook. So that book was actually adapted into an Oscar-winning 2010 classic, The Social Network. So, in case you was wondering about that. So that was what was reported on CNBC Morning Squawk. Now, here's what's being reported on CNN 5 Things. They say NASA is gearing up for another countdown to the launch of its Artemis 1 rocket on journey around the moon. I mean, they got a journey around this moon this weekend, apparently, because the first attempt was scrubbed on Monday because they had a whole bunch of problems that was happening. The launch team basically has made a whole bunch of significant adjustments, and now they're ready for another try on Saturday. Good luck with. I hope this works out, you guys. So if you need to get up to speed, this is CNN 5 Things, and Alexandria Meeks reported that. Now listen, Biden's speech. President Joe Biden delivered his sharpest rebuke yet of Republicans during a speech in Philadelphia on Thursday, warning the former President Donald Trump, just warning as the former President Donald Trump and his closest followers, undermine American democracy. This is what I quote our President Biden said. As I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. This is what Biden said in his address just months ahead of a midterm election that will determine control of Congress. So Biden attempted to separate Trump's most loyal MAGA followers from the real Republican Party that we know are out there. We know y'all are out there. Come on, y'all got this. We know y'all are out there as a whole. And Biden also sought to conclude on a more upbeat note, by urging it is still within voters' power to rein in Trump's staunchest supporters. Now, y'all still got the ability, Republicans. Fuck up. So this comes as Biden's recent aggressive rhetoric has drawn the ire of Republicans, particularly after he accused Trump loyalists of being what? Semi-fascism. At a fundraiser last week, and they were livid. They wanted his head on a platter, but it didn't happen. So, number 2 on CNN, 5 things. They're mentioning the hurricane season. For the first time in 25 years, the month of August did not have a named storm. Now, I've also reported this in August, but now that September has arrived, things appear to have changed quickly in the tropical Atlantic, okay? So on Thursday, the National Hurricane Center announced the tropical storm of Danielle. Danielle currently is in the North Atlantic. She wasn't expected, but is expected to strengthen into a hurricane by Saturday, but she's not really expected to make any kind of landfall. So Danielle is not a threat to any land at this time. Forecasts show that it's expected to remain fairly stationary throughout this weekend. So still current indications show that the early stages of the Atlantic hurricane season has been basically above average and could begin to pick up. All right. So just get ready for that. Don't get too comfortable. Item number 3 is in 5 things. They say that former Trump said that he will very, very seriously. He will very, very seriously, and this in quotes, consider full pardons for the rioters who breached the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021 if he runs for the re-election and wins. If I decide to run and if I win, I will be looking very, very strongly about pardons, full pardons. That's what Trump said on the Wendy Bell radio show. Because I was about to say, where the hell is he reporting anything that we listening to on the Wendy Bell radio Thursday? Good job, Wendy. You landed a good account. I hope your radio show blows up, because it's the first I ever heard of it. Anyway, Trump had made a similar promise during his final days of office when some of the January 6 rioters were already in jail. None, however, were pardoned before he left office. Anybody notice that? Okay, get your shit together, MAGA. He don't care about you. Now, be a real Republican. Come on, Cheneys. Get the Republicans back in line. I don't know about Mitt Romney. He's suspect, but... All right, so anyway... Trump's comments and intense speculation about the potential 2024 presidential run and his continued invocation of the Capitol attack could preview a central part of his future political messaging, which who is advising this dude? Stupid. Oh my God. Number 4 on CNN 5 things. The California legislature has passed about a dozen bills this week protecting or expanding abortion across the state, protecting or expanding abortion access in the state, as its Democratic leaders seek to make California a safe haven for reproductive freedom. See, the legislation now goes on to the Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been supportive of abortion rights, for his signature. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to happen. Meanwhile, nearly 1/3 of the United States have banned or severely restricted abortion rights, and after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade in June. So at least 7 states, including Alabama, Kentucky, and Missouri, have banned abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest. That's some bullshit. Anyway, healthcare providers and abortion activists have continued to file legal challenges to stop bans in several states from being enacted. See, number 5 on CNN 5 things, Ukraine. Like I said, the UN nuclear watchdogs say that it will have a continued presence at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant following an inspection at the site, where Russian shelling has sparked fears of a nuclear accident. So the plant and the area around the plant, including the adjacent city of the Inner Hordar, have endured persistent shelling that has raised fears of a meltdown through the interruption of the power supply of the facility. So each side accuses the other side of an act of nuclear terrorism. You know what I'm saying? Zelensky is letting us know that the Russians is on one, and we believe Zelensky. So anyway, Putin, cut it out. Separately, the Ukrainian military officials claim that Russia has suffered significant losses in the south to both its manpower and equipment as Ukraine tries to prevent Russia from resupplying its troops. Go on, go on, you crying? All right, now let's talk about my favorite morning brew because it starts off with bye, Howard. I don't know. Let's get into it. Morning Brew is reporting. Good morning. Morning Brew says Labor Day weekend is here, and whether you're already on your way to the lake house counting down to a 5 p.m. at work today, or you're scouring the SeatGeek for remotely affordable Serena Williams tickets tonight, make sure you check out the Morning Brew store where there's pretty spectacular sale going on. And you can only do that by subscribing to Morning Brew. Anyway, now, market. Things might just be looking up for the stocks as September begins, and the Dow and the S&P both ended slightly higher yesterday, busting out a 4-day losing streak, which is good because the tech stocks fell, and including the chip giant NVIDIA, after the United States basically blocked sales of some of its chips to China. Basically, the United States is cracking down on our property being just taken over by Chinese people. So that's, but I'm sorry, I don't even want to say it wrong, but y'all know how to read it. Don't be checking me for that. I'll do this. It's mine. So it's my platform. Economy. On their helicopter ride to the Hamptons this morning, investors will be tearing apart the August job reports number that came in at about 8:30 to anticipate whether or not the Feds are going to raise the interest rates. Now, economists predicted that we did add 318,000 jobs last month in August, but the good news might be bad news because it's a little too hot. A too hot labor market might spark greater inflation concerns, and so they're going to make sure that we don't do that. Can anybody say unemployment? And Morning Brew is also reporting that in educational news, the kids are not all right. The results are in, and the pandemic and its school shutdowns made a massive dent in how much kids learned over the last 2 years. National test scores for the U.S. 9-year-olds released yesterday showed that the math and reading proficiency dropped to their lowest level in decades. The math scores from the National Assessment of Educational Progress test, often dubbed the nation's report card, reflects the first decline since the government started tracking the data in 1971, with the average score dropping 7 points between 2020 and 2022. So the average reading score went down 5 points, and that's the largest fall in reading numbers in more than 30 years. COVID didn't affect all kids equally either. The lowest performing students were basically the most impacted. Kids in the 90th percentile have more than 3-point drop in math, while scores dipped 12 months for those in the bottom 10th. Those scores went down across racial lines. The gap between black and white students in math widened. Scores dropped 13 points for black students, but just 5 points for white students, increasing the existing disparity by 8 points. Okay, let me stop this. Okay, I just need to just take this time, y'all. If you don't know, for those that know me, know that I am a staunch advocate of education. I am pursuing my doctorate degree in hopes that I will present a dissertation of practice in regards to installing and instilling financial literacy in all 50 states into the core curriculum. And I started because my babies needed me in 2015. I am just disappointed that this is still happening. I am coming, babies. I am coming. I can't wait. But this disturbs me because I use financial literacy in order to help intervene in these children's reading skills. And you mean to tell me that nobody else is doing this? Father God, enlarge my territory indeed. Help me be the change I need to see in this world. But I'm going to read these numbers because it's heartbreaking to me. Those scores went down across racial lines. The gap between black and white students in math widened. Scores dropped 13 points for black students, but 5 points for white students, increasing the existing disparity by 8 points. The steepest declines were in the Midwest and Northeast those scores decreased all across the United States. And it's not just test scores that are looking grim. Oh, Jesus. I am so sorry, y'all. School violence, absenteeism, cyberbullying, and students using mental health services, as well as teacher vacancies, all went up during the pandemic. Here's the big picture. Your mom might have assured you that the fourth grade genealogy test that you failed won't matter in the long run, but education experts say that it will be tough for kids who fell this far behind at age 9 to catch up. This means COVID's toll on education is likely to have an economic consequence for a long time to come. Still, schools are racing to get kids back up to speed. The federal government has earmarked $122 billion to help students get past this pandemic situation, and some of that cash is being spent on tutoring, more after-school programs, and summer schools are other options to get the kids where they need to be. I'm going to end this broadcast now. I got work to do. Matter of fact, before I end, I want to leave y'all with one more statistic. And then I'm out because I got work to do. For back to school week, Morning Brew decided to visualize the change in bachelor degrees across the U.S. from 2010 to 2010. The big finding, which isn't particularly surprising, is that STEM-related majors have surged, while the number of humanities students have dwindled. It's only a matter of time before degrees in computer science alone surpasses all humanities degrees collectively. And this was done by researcher Benjamin Schmidt. He noted that. Yeah, y'all, I'm so sorry that y'all had to see my tears, but I care about these babies. I care about the disparity. I don't like it. I don't like seeing disadvantaged, marginalized children be treated this way. So I'm going to regroup. Love, peace, and hair grease. And this has been Hot Chocolate News. And y'all got to see what really fucking fucks with me. Have a great day. Happy Labor Day weekend.